Hi friends, it's Facebook Friday and I'm back. I missed last week. I published a blog about my organizational OCD, a fun project that I have to say completely loved, but I needed to go live this week because it's been on my heart to share a story with you. You know, the last time I went live was from the gas station when I was waiting on a tow truck because my tire went flat. And it was supposed to be a really great fun day because I had all this stuff planned. And then my tire blew, so then my whole day just, waiting on a tow truck, waiting on a new tire. It was just crazy day. But I wanted to talk about what happened that day because it actually turned out to be one of the best days. And I wanted to explain why because it was so meaningful to me. So I guess I wanted to talk about how sometimes God will take a bad situation and turn it into something good. He'll take what should be a bad day and turn it into the best day. So, all right, what happened was I'm sitting in the car and I'm waiting for the tow truck driver and waiting. And of course, he pulls in and it was a really young guy and he gets out and he was just kind of small in stature. He looked like he was barely old enough to drive, to be honest. He was really a tiny guy. And he could barely make eye contact and barely said hello and just started going to work of hooking up my car and doing what he was supposed to do. So we had to drive quite a ways from where I work and where the tire situation happened to all the way to where the tire place was that I had gotten the tire. So we were in the truck a long time together. And so I kind of started making, just small talk because for some reason, as soon as I saw him get out of the truck, I kind of had this placed on my heart. Like I felt like it was a divine appointment. You know what I mean? Like God was saying, this guy needs me, not me, but he needs God. And so we're getting in the car and I'm thinking, how am I going to talk to this guy and bring up God? Because he was wearing like this big silver ring. It looked like, like a devil head with little bead, like eyes. It was just kind of weird, but he barely talked. So as we're going to the tire place, I just start making small conversation, asking him if he's lived, this stuff like, have you always lived here? Does your family live here? And just through casual chit chat, he started to share with me that he doesn't really have a family, that his mom died when he was 12. He slowly started opening up more and more. Dad's in jail. He's 22. He looks a lot younger. His stepmom could care less about him. His brother doesn't care about him. So he said, I really don't have a family. And he has I think, 4-week-old baby girl. I'm thinking, whoa, that's a lot. And he's just, he's a young guy. So I started to just talk to him about that. And I told him, sometimes God will bring family members into your life that are really friends, that are like family and instead of your original family. And you can still have a good life without family, because he seemed really down about that. And he started to kind of, spoke, he just got a little brighter and said, my best friend, he's like a brother to me, more like a brother to me than my real brother. And so I kind of thought, okay, so I threw the God thing in. And so we just kind of kept driving and talking. And then, I remembered, he works for AAA, right? So I had to call AAA to get this. So I thought, there's a connection. I can kind of bring up more of a God thing without being too preachy pants to him, because I knew that would not get anywhere. He would think I was crazy lady and just tune me out. So we got to talking about, AAA and how long he'd worked for the tow truck company and everything. So I got the idea of sharing with him the true story of what happened to me. So I told him how I've been a AAA member since the early 90s. And I told him how way back when I lived in Phoenix and I drove this little black pickup truck. And I was going to college while I was working. And so it was late at night after class one time and I was on Highway 51 and my tire blew. And I told him how I had no idea how to change a tire, but I knew that where I was on the freeway, the surrounding city area was not so good. And I told him how scared I was. And I felt like okay, this is a bad situation. Oh, I also told him because I'm old, this was before everybody had a cell phone. And cell phones were out, but I just didn't have one because, I mean, not everybody had one. They were kind of expensive. So I told him how I pulled over and I said, I told myself, this is bad. This is probably how I'm going out. So I told him that I told myself, you know what? I think I'm going to cry because this is the end. And then I said to him, then I told myself I'm going to pray first because, I'm really desperate. So I'm going to pray and then I'll let myself cry. So I told him how I closed my eyes and I just prayed for God to send me a nice guy to change my tire. And then I promised that tomorrow I will join AAA and I'll get a cell phone. And I said, and I had my eyes closed. And as I opened my eyes after I prayed, I said, I saw a pickup truck pull up behind me. I could see, the bright lights kind of started to shine on me. And I said, this guy gets out of the truck and he has a toolbox and a flashlight and he comes walking up and he just starts to change my tire. And I get out of the truck and I thank him for stopping. And that the man says to me, well, I saw your tire. I was going the opposite direction on the freeway. I saw your tire blow and God told me I needed to come help you. And the tow truck driver, his face just lit up. He looked over at me and he said, oh my God, are you serious? He said, did you freak out? And I mean, that was the most animated and lively that he was. And I said, of course I did. I said, it was so beautiful. It made me feel like, you know what, this God stuff is real and he's there for me. And I said, I was so happy, I almost cried out of happiness, but I said, I can tell you the very next day I got a cell phone and I joined AAA and I've been a member of AAA ever since. So I said, yeah, I mean, I just kind of told him the story and it made me feel so good because I felt like after that and the rest of our conversation was just so much better. And I don't know, maybe it was just my imagination, but he seemed a little lighter and I don't know. I guess I felt like I planted that seed. And sometimes in life, if you could just plant that seed, you don't know where it's going to go. And I don't know. I felt like I followed God's lead and maybe I felt like God used me. And that's kind of always what I pray about. But I wanted to share that story just because I wanted to let you know sometimes when you have a bad day, you never know what God has in store. And what should have been like the worst day turned out to be one of the best days, and I have such great memories. I don't think God busted my tire for no reason, but I feel like it wasn't for nothing, and that God will take something bad and turn it to something good. And that's what he did for me 2 weeks ago on Facebook Friday, and I just wanted to share that with all of you. So anyway, I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks for listening. And exciting. I have some guests lined up because I love doing interviews. It's really fun. And I have some guests lined up. I'm hoping to have one on here next Friday. So I'll let you all know ahead of time what time it's going to be. But I have someone special coming next week. And then I have a couple more that I'm going to trying to get them lined up in the near future. So it'll be exciting. Anyway, have a great weekend. God bless.